More options. The Kabbala, the mystical philosophy or theosophy of the Jews, is so called the Kabbala. The word is derived from the Hebrew Kabbal, signifying to receive, because it is the doctrine received from the elders. It has sometimes been used to enlarge sense as comprehending all explanations, maxims, and ceremonies which have been traditionally handed down to the Jews. The Kabbala may be defined to be a system of philosophy, which embraces certain mystical interpretations of scripture and metaphysical speculations concerning the deity, man, and spiritual beings. In these interpretations and well-known truths according to Jewish and new doctrines were enveloped to the most profound truths about religion, which to be comprehended by finite beings are obliged to be revealed through the medium of symbols and allegories. The Kabbala is a secret science which treats in mystical and enigmatical manner of things, divine, angelical, theological, celestial, and even metaphysical, the subjects being enveloped in striking symbols and secret modes of teachings. The Kabbala is first taught by God himself to a select company of angels who formed a theosophic school in paradise. After the fall, the angels most graciously taught thus heavenly doctrine to the disobedient child of earth, to furnish protoplasts with the means of returning to the pristine nobility and felicity. From Adam it passed over to Noah, from Noah to Abraham, the friend of God, whom emigrated with it to Egypt, where the patriarch allowed a portion of these doctrines to be released to the public. It was through thus means the Egyptians obtained some of the knowledge of it, and the other Eastern nations could introduce it unto their philosophical systems. Moses, who was learned in all wisdoms of Egypt, was the first initiated into the land of his birth, but had become the most proficient in it during his travels in the wilderness, when he not only devoted to it the hours of his leisures, but of a whole 40 years, he also received lessons in it from one of the angels. By the help thus mysterious science, the lawgiver was enabled to solve the difficulties which arose during his management of the Israelites, in spite of the wars between the pilgrims and many troubles throughout the lands. He covertly laid down the many principles of the secret doctrine in the first 4 books of Pentateuch, but was withheld from the Deuteronomy. Thus constitutes the former man and the latter the women. Moses also initiated the 70 elders into the secrets of this doctrine, and they again transmitted them from hand to hand. Of all who formed the unbroken line of tradition, David and Solomon were the first initiated into the Kabbala. No one ever dared to write it down until Simon ben Jochai, whom was living during the time of the destruction of the Second Temple, having been condemned to death by Titus. Rabbi Simon managed to escape with his son and concealed themselves in a cavern, where they remained for 12 years. Here in this subterranean abode he occupied himself entirely with the contemplation of the sublime Kabbala, and was constantly visited by the prophet Elias, who disclosed to him some of the secrets, which were still concealed from the theosophical rabbi. Here too his disciples resorted to be initiated by their masters into these divine mysteries. It was here Simon ben Jochai died with the heavenly doctrine in his mouth, while sharing and debating the information disclosed to the disciples. Scarcely his essence of spirit had departed from his body. In a bright flash of light, a orb was made, so bright within the cavern that no one was able to look right at him, the rabbi. At this time a orb of fire erupted at the entrance of the cavern, as a soldier on guard for the entrance to the cavern, denying admittance to any but those already within. It was not until the light inside and the fire outside departed that the disciples perceived that lamp of Israel was extinguished, as they were preparing for his funeral rites. A voice from the heavens was heard by all, and it said, "Come ye to the marriage of Simon ben Jochai, he is entering into peace and shall rest in his chambers." A flame was then preceded the coffin, which seemed to enveloped by burning it like fire. And once the remains were deposited within the tomb, a second voice was heard by all this time, saying, "Thus is he whom caused the earth to quake, and the kingdoms to shake." Out of these the work called Sohar was noted, which is the grand storehouse of Kabbalism. Navigate up. Archive. Delete.